I would describe Jim like this. Sometimes people touch our lives in a profound way. I like to call them kindred spirits. Jim was a kindred spirit for me. He took a sincere interest in what I was involved in with my daily affairs. He reminded me of my grandfather in many ways. Someone who was very special to me. Jim was educated and intelligent. He was a kind and gentle person, very non-threatening in nature. He cared for his community and his country. He was dedicated to family. He was supportive of the church. He was interesting and unique in character. He enjoyed simple pleasures like reading the paper, watching a ball game, having a good conversation. He had really kind eyes, the kind of eyes that take a lifetime to develop. He spoke his mind, but he used a respectful restraint when he talked about others, especially his family and friends. I have seen Jim's kindness in each of his children over the years. Bruce has his kind, gentle nature. He's a peacemaker. Jeff is sharp-minded. He's an articulate leader. Kathy has his nurturing spirit. She is a genuine caregiver. Mark has his big heart. He deeply enjoys giving a helping hand to others in his community. All of his children possess these wonderful qualities passed down from Jim. I've seen it in each and every one of them. There's a lot of love in this family, Jim's family. It has been such a privilege to be a part of it over the years. I love you all. We love you, Jim. Thank you.
We're going to try to get through this, okay, guys? My name is Mark, and I'm a little out of place here because Dad was always the one to step up and say the right prayer. I just wanted to thank everybody for showing up to support Dad and loving Dad, you know. And Dad was a great man and is such a spiritual life, you know. He was always involved in, from childhood to now, from Boy Scouts to band, to yearbooks, to cards, bridge, and tennis, and church, especially. He always supported us, but never wanted to change us, and he always stayed interested in the family's life forever. Just this year, he has been to a funeral in Florida, a wedding in Ohio, and many birthday parties. And Kayla's graduation, just last month. I was always the rebel that didn't want to be like Dad, and here's Kayla, the rebel that turned out like Dad. Love you all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Newman. I'm the youngest of the 7 grandkids. One time I was telling my grandfather a story or something, and when I was done, I sat there waiting for his response, and he just said something along the lines of, "You young people talk too quickly." Thus, I will try to speak slowly. When I was a little girl, I would romanticize about my grandpa's workshop. Whenever my family would visit my grandparents, we would find Grandpa in his workshop downstairs. It was in the basement, and the first room was tiny. There was a radio, old pictures, and keepsakes scattered on the wall in the ground room. He would generally be in this tiny room, working on a project or just smoking a cigar. The next room was where it got extraordinary. It was cold and dark, but home to all sorts of my grandparents' treasures. It felt like a magical cave that my grandfather would guard. That was my grandfather's lair. Then there was his porch. We would sit out there with him and wait for the deer to sneak through the yard and for the squirrels to dine from the corn feeders that he made them. His squirrel feeders had a chair for them to sit on while they nibbled on the corn. It was a funny sight to see. My grandfather was very supportive of the squirrels and of his grandchildren. He was supportive in the most subtle and meaningful ways. My freshman year of high school was my first year to attend public school, and a large public school at that. I didn't know this at the time, but apparently he was worried about my transition. So he pulled out his high school yearbook and showed me all of the different activities that he was involved in. He wanted to show me all of the possibilities. I was always eager to impress him, so I joined almost every club possible. He was able to see me graduate high school with honors and a colorful display of cords. After my freshman year of college, I changed my major to theater. I was nervous to tell my grandfather. I didn't know what he would think of me. We didn't have an artist in the family. I don't remember his response. Perhaps I let my dad tell him. That semester, though, he randomly gave me a book. This book is about an actress who moves away to work at a small theater and falls in love for the first time. It is hard to put into words how much that meant to me. He was a sweet grandpa. Funny side note about theater. Directors, without fail, tell me that I speak too quickly and to slow down. My grandfather was the first person to give me that note. This December, like my dad mentioned, I graduated from UT with a BA in theater and dance. Well, I don't dance, theater. And my grandpa, at the age of 97, got to see me, his youngest grandkid, walk the stage. That day, I asked him for his advice for the rest of my life. He said, "There's always tomorrow." This cracked me up, first off, because this man was 97. And secondly, I thought the motto was, "Live like there's no tomorrow." I like his motto better. It's more optimistic and practical. He never ceased to impress me. Until just last week, he was always learning. He wrote a book in his 90s. This summer, while he was in Ohio for a wedding, he had my aunt and dad take him to a library so that he could look some things up. More recently, he was captivated with working his cell phone. He was so inquisitive and had such an affinity for life. Just 2 years ago, he was riding his indoor bike for 15 minutes a day. He was incredible. When my grandmother passed away, I was a freshman in high school. I felt like I was just getting to the point where I really appreciated her for being the strong and devout woman that she was. Thus, I vowed to be a woman that she would be proud of, strong-willed and strong-spoken. I might have taken myself too seriously for a while because I was just getting to a point where I really appreciated and understood my grandfather's entertainment with this world. I will strive to live in his light too. I am thrilled to carry on with the memory of my grandfather and to live for him, as I hope a lot of you will do too. Remember, there's always tomorrow to learn something new and to be a better you. Thank you.